There are so many Reiki practitioners who absorb negative and residual energies and informations from their clients. And there are also practitioners who perhaps are not engaging in therapy on others, but are really good empaths. In fact, they are so good that they feel like sponges and absorb, again, the same as the previous category, negative or residual energies and information. So the solution is to learn how to protect yourself using Reiki. Hi, I'm Vlad from ReikiScoop.com, and in today's video we're going to talk a little bit about 3 methods of shielding protection using Reiki. Consider subscribing, giving a thumbs up so that other Reiki enthusiasts or practitioners can find content such as this one. With that being said, let's get started. First of all, we need to understand one thing. Well, actually a couple of things. First of all, it's really impossible to stay protected 24/7. Not only because the methods of protection don't last in a continuous way, but also it will hinder our progress and our interaction with the outside world. In fact, the more layers of protection you add, be it with Reiki or other practices, the more you seem like you have an armor on you, and people will subconsciously, instinctively perceive that you are not approachable, or unapproachable to be more correct. It's impossible for them to communicate with you, to relate with you, to understand emotionally something from you. So keep that in mind. With the more layers of protection you create, the difficulty it may be to interact with others, and it's really, from my perspective and experience so far, impossible to have a 24/7 protection. That being said, the second element that I wanted to mention is, why do we need protection? Isn't Reiki or any spiritual practice that's beneficial spiritual practice already heightens the vibration and awareness and helps us remove the idea of being influenced or affected by negative energies or influences for that matter? Well, not exactly, because in order to be in that state of not attracting anything or not interacting with anything, it would mean to change our resonance at a very deep level, and it's possible. Still, if you're in the first category that I was mentioning, in which you practice Reiki on others and you have maybe a vast number of clients that, approach you and want to learn from you and want to receive therapy from you, there's a huge chance, the more people there are, there's a huge chance that some of them, have their own karmic debts. They have their own problems from home, friends, family, whatever it is, from their interactions with others. The resonance, their perceptions perhaps might be faulty. They create breaches through which negative energy or residual energy and negative entities enter. Therefore, when you offer therapy on them, even if you have a really strong layer of protection, doesn't mean that you at least a little bit won't interact with those elements or absorb part of them. And here's the catch: you will absorb the things, the elements that you resonate with, the elements that resonate, that can impact you at that moment, that were on your frequency, needed for you to learn something or to press a button, so to speak, somewhere so that you can understand where you were vulnerable and that you can evolve. You can learn how to protect that area, not only to protect it, but to heal it. Once that area is healed, you will most likely need less and less protection because you're not resonating, you're not attracting. It's like the story with Buddha, that he was meditating under the Bodhi tree and, evil came and tried to convince him to go off his path. And he offered multiple temptations, but he was in a very, very calm meditative state in which he did not feel the need for anything. It wasn't that he was maybe craving something and he was, keeping away from it, knowing it's not good for him. No, he was not needing it. He was not feeling the need. And that is true, beneficial, useful resonance that doesn't require protection anymore. Well, until we reach that moment of bliss, of enlightenment, let's call it. Some people have reached that, and that's perfectly fine, and the need for protection is considerably less, obviously. Until then, whether you're the first category or the second, and you're a super empath, and you need to create some layers of protections, because no matter what you do, when you interact with family, friends, other people, you feel like you interact both with the good elements, but also with their not so good elements. Energies, prints, informations, even entities, emotional states, you feel it and you kind of feel so vulnerable, and you're like a sponge and you feel like you absorb all those elements. And whatever discussion that might be a bit more on a tense side arrives within that group of people, you feel like you're absorbing that you're interacting too much with that energy. Of course, for this second category of super empaths, the idea is that practicing Reiki regularly kind of balances out your energy fields, your chakras, your energetic anatomy, so that you are in more, well, I have to repeat myself, in a balanced way. You don't absorb that much. You are still an empath, don't get me wrong. That will not fundamentally change, and probably with nothing. I'm not sure what exactly could change that. Reiki doesn't change that, but it helps you become more balanced in a sense of creating a higher vibration, which already offers a decent layer of protection. And I'm talking about the self-treatment, but also it regulates the flow of energy through your chakras, through your energy fields, through your energy channels, which means that you're not going to be that vulnerable. You're not going to feel and not going to be that vulnerable in front of those maybe conflicts or people that usually were affecting you and were determining you to absorb more energy, residual or negative energy and information. Which brings me to the three methods of protection, shielding, using Reiki. And the first method, and it's probably quite common sense if you think about it, is activating, projecting, placing, as you wish to call it, the Reiki symbols on your body, namely on your primary chakras and on the entire length of the body, front and back. So here's the deal. You activate your palms with Chokurei, Seiheki, Honshaze Shonen, Daikomyo. This enables this sequence specifically. I'm not going to get into the Reiki symbols necessarily, this sequence, but I just want to mention this sequence activates a more abundant flow of energy. Doesn't mean that you didn't have one. It means that you are enhancing that flow of energy. Activated in the palms. And when you activate them, as I presented in other videos, you pronounce his name 3 times. Chokurei, 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 Chokurei. This name and clapping, doesn't matter if it's 5 times, 3 times, 2 times the clapping. These are small physical actions that allow the symbol to be embedded energetically and physically, so it can be more present within the physical realm as well. That's the way I learned it, and that's the way it was taught since Hawayo Takata many decades ago. Anyways, even if you feel uncomfortable using this, at least activate in the way you feel comfortable the Reiki symbols on your palms. And then what you want to do is use at least Chokurei and Seiheki on the 7 primary chakras. That's the crown, third eye with its back projection, throat with its back projection, heart with its back projection, solar plexus with its back projection, sacral below the navel, half an inch, with its back projection, and the root, which doesn't have a projection, neither the crown. They kind of project themselves. So, and you will wonder, okay, so how am I going to reach the backside of the heart chakra? I can't, I'm not that flexible. No worries. You can activate them on the front first. Chokurei Seiheki, Chokurei Seiheki, Chokurei Seiheki, Chokurei Seiheki, Chokurei. You activate them on the front part of the body, and then you can activate them on the backside of the body, the back projections, especially in the places you can't reach. Okay, here you can reach. Maybe in the throat area you can reach as well, but maybe in the heart and solar plexus you can't reach. You can place Chokurei, 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 Seiheki, 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 and intend to place them on the back projection of the heart chakra. It works the same way as activating them with your hands. It's just that when you activate them on your fingers or one finger with your hands, you kind of bypass that psychological barrier of opening up to the idea of protection, of activating symbols. It's just that it's more likely for your subconscious that this will happen, but in reality you can just visualize them if you have more experience with Reiki. But that's for another story. Now you can activate on the front and back sides of the body, the entire length of the body. And I'm talking about a huge chokurei, and seheki. For the back projection, obviously you can't reach it. You activate a large chokurei in front of you, and seheki, and you place it on the back side of the body. I was just doing fast. Now you don't have to do them this fast. You do it in your own rhythm. I was just explaining how to do it for the sake of length of this video. So, symbols on the chakras and on the front and back side of the body. You can activate it on secondary chakras, energy centers, like the shoulders, like the hips, like the knees, the soles. All those places you can place chokurei and seheki. And you can also add symbols from Karuna or Holy Fire if you're attuned to them, to these systems. Like Zonar, Halu are great. Rama is a great symbol for protection. And other symbols from other systems if you resonate with them. But mainly we're talking about Usui Reiki. This is what I did, I still do, and I will always do. So at least with Usui Reiki we got that covered. Now this was the first part, symbols on the chakras and on the front and back side of the body. The second idea is to create what is called a sphere of light. In short, what you need to do is activate your palms with the symbols, as I mentioned previously. You visualize a sphere of light between your palms as it becomes present, activated. You relax. You start breathing. I'm just going to explain now. Usually start it's like a meditative state, but you are relaxing and you're just visualizing a sphere of light being activated within your palms. And within this sphere of light, after a couple of minutes after you have visualized it bright and the size of larger than a basketball actually, you activate all the Reiki symbols you have access to. And I do mean all the Reiki symbols you have access to. Even if you're a Reiki teacher and you're attuned to Tibetan Reiki or whatever it is, and you have Serpent of Fire, Dragon of Fire, Tibetan Daikomyo, traditional Daikomyo, all the symbols within the sphere. Chokurei, Seheki, you visualize them. Chokurei, Seheki, Honsha, Shonen, Daikomyo. Karuna symbols, Holy Fire, Violet Flame Reiki, whatever it's that you are attuned to. If you're attuned to Shambhala Reiki, place those symbols. You can place the Mahatma energy in the sphere. You can place the Christ consciousness or the Shambhala energy within this sphere, embedded with it. It's going to take more time, obviously. The more symbols you have, the more energies you have access to. It takes a bit more time, but that's okay. Your intent is to create a strong layer of protection. And by the way, all these layers of protection also have inevitably a cleansing effect. Coming back to the subject, we visualize the sphere with the symbols within it. Now there are two options. You either place the sphere on top of your crown chakra and you visualize as it gradually becomes bigger, larger and larger and larger until it engulfs all your physical and energetic body and all your energy fields. Or you can keep on visualizing the sphere in your palms as it becomes larger and larger and larger, and it engulfs the same, your energy fields, physical body, energetic anatomy, everything. Personally, I prefer the first one. I just resonate with it more for some reason. I place it on the crown chakra, and then I visualize as it becomes larger and larger and it engulfs all my body. How long will this last and how long will the first method last? Well, that depends on your vibration and your ability to channel universal life force energy and your connection and integration of the Reiki symbols and methods. That's why I always mention in my courses and classes, integration is very important. Practicing, understanding what the symbols or methods or for manifestations of energy do. This is just to make a parenthesis here. You don't need to know exactly each line of the symbol, but you do need to know what it works for, what it's used for, what is not used for, when to use it, and how it looks like at least. You don't need to know each line, how it looks like and the name of it. Knowing again when to use it. You're not going to use Honsha Shonen for creating a sphere of light around you. Personally, I wouldn't do that. It's really not necessary. Honsha Shonen has other uses. I can add it alongside other symbols, but as a standalone symbol, I'm not sure if it's going to present a viable protection idea just by itself. It's because Honshaze Shonen is a accumulation of 3 or 4 spiritual concepts meant for a purpose, for a different purpose than what we're doing right now. They are keys that access manifestations of universal life force energies. Because there was somebody who was confused with that. It's not about calligraphy. It's about what they represent. They are kotodamas. Kotodama in Japan means accumulation of spiritual concepts, at least one or more spiritual concepts within a drawing. The symbol is just the key, a representation of those concepts. It's not the symbol. It's not a letter in the alphabet. Okay, that you activate and creates I don't know what protection. This is a different idea. Coming back to the subject, I don't want to digress. And the third method, quite simple, is to visualize, activate a cone of light or a pyramid of light. I learned it as a cone of light. You can improvise and use it as a pyramid of light or however you wish to perceive it. You activate your palms with the Reiki symbols. Above the crown chakra, you will have the tip of the cone or the pyramid, and you activate Chokurei, Seiheki, Honshaze Shonen, Daikomyo. You activate it, doesn't matter if you activate it parallel to the crown chakra or parallel to the sky, or just activate them. That's the point. Your intention is to create a cone of light. Chokurei, Seiheki, Honshaze Shonen, Daikomyo. Add other symbols if you have access to. Visualize as a cone of light or pyramid of light starts forming around you, engulfing your energy fields, not only your physical body. It's super large that engulfs your energy fields. And on the base of the cone, it's going to be your feet will be at the base of the cone, obviously. And the base of the cone, you visualize you activate a large seiheki with the intention of draining all the residual energies, projections, programs, but also with the intention of creating a layer of protection. It will also serve as a protection method besides the cleansing method. It's used for both cleansing and protection methods. So, as with every other method that I presented right now. So, that's it. You activate the symbols as they represent the tip of the cone or the pyramid. Above the crown chakra, you visualize the cone or the pyramid, and the base, I create a round gesture because I'm used to creating a cone of light. In the base of the cone is at your feet, and you visualize, activate the seiheki for draining. The seiheki helps, just to explain it a bit. Seiheki has a slight similar connection to Honshaze Shonen, but in a different way. It's a symbol for mental and emotional healing, right? So why seiheki? It's a symbol for harmony. So why seiheki? Because it's also a symbol for opening up a structure or helping release tension, negative energy from an area or a place, or opening up something that allows you to release something that's not useful. So seiheki is also used for that. That's why we place seiheki. Can you place Honshaze Shonen? Sure, you can place Honshaze Shonen as well. Stand alone or together with seiheki. In fact, you can place all 3 symbols if you want. I'm trying to make things simple. So seiheki would be at least this would be the symbol that I would place at the base of the cone or the pyramid to drain negative energies, programs, whatever it is that affects you, and to also create a layer of protection. It's like a continuous vacuum, more or less, that also offers a high vibrational layer around you. How long does this last? Again, depends on your vibration, your ability to channel universal life force energy. Could be 1 hour, could be 2 hours, could be 3 hours. I'm not gonna say that it's gonna last 24/7 because they don't. At one point they go into, I won't call it non-existence, but they like dissolve within the universal life force energy. They won't stay forever. They are not meant to stay forever, because remember that behind every energy and information that a symbol has access to, there's also entities, in this case beneficial entities, divine entities, and the spirit guides that you get from Reiki. It also depends on their ability to help you channel universal energy. That's why in other videos, and I will have videos like this again, we send universal life force energy to your Reiki spirit guides, so you create a stronger bond with them, more enhanced connection. And when you do methods of protection, they not only last longer, but they are more efficient, because they help you channel universal energy, the spirit guides, the angels, the entity. They are angels, but I'm not gonna go into the definition of entities from a religious perspective, as I got criticized. It has nothing to do with religion. The entities were long before we even understood what religion is. We just have a perception of them and names for them. Yes, spirit guides in Reiki are like angels, smaller angels that have different, roles in our healing, awareness, perception, protection, and all those elements. And they facilitate the flow of energy through a person, and they facilitate the ability to guide the energy, the universal life force energy, towards something, and to activate symbols and the long-lasting protection methods. They have a considerable role, important role in this matter. But again, I don't want to digress. This is a topic for another time. So those are the 3 methods. There are many more methods. In fact, I am working on a book for Reiki for protection, but it's going to take some time because there are some other priorities. But this would be quite an important topic for a book to have. There are so many elements that need to be taken into account and described within the idea of Reiki for protection, because sometimes we need to address more elements that are not traditional from Reiki and blend them with Reiki so that we can create an even more stronger, more efficient protection method that also has a cleansing effect. Anyways, thank you so much for seeing the video until the end, and again, consider offering a thumbs up and subscribe so that other Reiki enthusiasts can find content just like this one. Don't forget, I have the 21 Reiki challenge, which is for free. We practice Reiki together, and then after the Reiki self-treatment, in which I guide you how to place your hands and what to do, we have breathing exercise, we have a meditation after that. And it's for 21 consecutive days so that you can learn consistency and learn how to tap into the essence and elements and knowledge and wisdom of Reiki. Also, I have a weekly free newsletter, and I also have Blissed Premium, which is a premium platform for learning even more about the self-treatment concepts such as this one that we have discussed today. We have meditations within that hour of Bliss Premium. There's 1 hour per week in which we do the self-treatment and we talk about a subject, we meditate, we use a meditation, cleansing or breathing method. So there's a lot going on ReikiScoop. 21 Reiki challenge, weekly newsletter, and Blissed Premium, which is also a weekly, not a newsletter, but a practice or complex practice, more complex than the 21 Reiki challenge, obviously. So there you have it. There's a lot to talk about in these subjects, a lot to talk about Reiki in general, but these are three elements, 3 methods that I think you can find useful if you're a Reiki practitioner, at least for level 2, if I had to mention that, I suppose. Anyways, I don't want to keep this video longer. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Blessings.